Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Genshin Impact reaction. Today we have the Divine Barrier of Transcendent Enlightenment battle theme. That is a mouthful, and apparently we're doing the battle theme and not the boss theme in addition, because evidently I am predictable, at least according to Harshit, who said that based on a bunch of his requests in the past, he's kind of built this expectation of how much song I can handle, which feels weirdly personal. But also, I'm putting these out here, so I feel like I shouldn't be offended by that or like weirded out by it. It's not that it's actually weird, but also it's like, I don't know, there's something about it. I don't know, you tell me. Am I being weird? I feel like I'm being weird. But jokes aside, obviously I'm starting with this one today, so without further ado, let's go! With battle themes, I never know if it's gonna be something like big and intimidating, fast. We get atmospheric and creepy today. Ooh. Okay, intimidating is not off the table. Oh, I really like that like string, that like dulcimer sound and the melody. It's simple, but very effective. It's a very short loop for that bit, but it really gets the point across. And we got the panning going on with like the vocals in the one ear, or at least mostly in the one ear, and it moves. I wonder if that's like based on an instrument. That last synth, that sounded kind of unique. I don't know, it might have just been a generic synth sort of sound, but I wonder if there's a thing, there's gotta be something that sounds like that. This song is giving dangerously ominous, and I think I've said that before with other songs, maybe not specifically Genshin, but definitely it's what's going on in this song. So for this song, I'm pretty sure we're sticking around the C minor and A flat, and it could be this one up here. But either way is totally fine. It's just how it's played is super condensed. It's claustrophobic, just like the entirety of the song, which is one of those things about this track that's super interesting, because the melody is so claustrophobic and tense, and like there's no room to breathe for basically anything that's happening here. It locks you in this looping rhythm that you can't get out of, but the atmosphere it's building is so much broader. It's like when you walk into a place and your chest feels tight, but there's so much room for activity, and you're not sure, like you walk into like an abandoned parking garage at night and you're just like, I don't like this, because like at any point something could go wrong, but there's plenty of places to go, but also the feeling that there's nowhere to go. That's a great way to build up that sort of tension, because you're not sure if you're safe or not while listening to this song. So like I said, we have the C minor there, and we don't really sit in specifically C minor. We're not like bouncing up with this chord or anything. We're actually going right there. Like that's the relationship we have at the very beginning, just bouncing between this C and the C sharp. And that's initially what gets you to go, ooh, I don't like that, because you're fighting against something immediately in the music. Those notes don't go well together. They're not supposed to, really. So when you have those two kind of clashing against each other, you're like, why am I here? I don't like that relationship. A better one would be something like that, the C and the E. That is a much more pleasing relationship. Hell, even the C and the D sharp is slightly better. It's still a little bit dissonant, but nowhere near as bad as C and C sharp together. And we're forced to sit in that for the beginning of the song just to make sure that you're feeling that tension in your chest the whole time, just not really letting you get much farther away from that. Obviously, that claustrophobia playing in really well initially. And from that, as we get into like the part of that melody that I really liked, we actually go from a C to a G, and we also have the A flat and B flat both being utilized there. So there is more of a movement, but these three don't really let you go anywhere. So like, this is kind of... You're doing that the whole time. So you're bouncing around these three, and right there you can hear how dissonant those three are when played at the same time. And when you add this one, it doesn't help, you know? It's just... they just don't work together. It's just that the essence of cycling around those three notes is what keeps you locked in that sensation of I'm not allowed to leave, even though there's a little bit of room there. And the relationship of these two is interesting too, because you have the C and the G, one note extra in the middle, you have C minor. You could also do C major, but we're just sitting on C minor because that's kind of where the song is sitting. And it's just... you know, that's a good relationship. That gives you the room. That's reflecting the space you're in. There's room to move. But the second you try to, you're met with a wall almost immediately. And again, most of the time, you're kind of fighting between these two. And it only goes back around and loops you back into the first step of that. You can't escape. That's the essence of this track. And again, they did that fantastically. I really love the sound design on this one, doing exactly what it needs to be able to reflect that essence of why can't I go anywhere and what is around me. Because there's so much sound design in this that is like the voices kind of going from ear to ear, making you feel more of that paranoia. That is really fucking cool, especially for this. I always get excited when that happens in a song, because even though it happens fairly often, I just love talking about atmospheric sound design tricks, and moving things around the head is one of my personal favorites. Abusing that stereo ability in the human head especially, it's just like you can't quite place where things are if they keep moving around. We're designed to be able to pick out general directions based on our ears and how they work, but when you put things in very specific spots, it becomes harder and harder to pinpoint exactly where it's coming from. If it's something right in front of you, the likelihood of it coming from right in front of you is pretty obvious. You can hear that, that's where your ears are focused, it's just by design. But when we have like headphones on, and you can place the sound anywhere, designers get to be really fucking cheeky with where they place stuff. They can put stuff back here, and you can't exactly figure out where that's coming from. It could be right here, it could be right here. We don't have that good of like ear articulation. We're not deer, you know? We can't flip our ear over and go, what's going on over here? So we're hearing these weird sounds coming from different areas while also being confronted in the front with this stuff going on. This atmospheric gap that's in front of us, as well as the claustrophobic tendency of the melody, we're not allowed to know. And they're making it sound like you're in like a liminal space almost. Like not in the fucking backroomsy way, but like you are one step away from the door to hell. And that's terrifying because you know there's a bunch more on the other side of this door, but the fact that the second you take a step more could be your last, and that constant weight of that psychological pressure is bearing down on you. That's what this song is doing. It's not taking it in the cheeky way of just like, oh, you're stuck in an elevator, whoopsie daisy. Like, it's a lot more akin to that analogy I made earlier about the abandoned parking garage, because you don't know who's hiding behind the pillar a couple up, if anyone. But you'll have to walk forward to know, or you have to leave. And there's no guarantee somebody's not behind you. It's terrifying. This sort of sound is taking all of that, expanding it, and making you confront it constantly, no matter where you go. It is a little backroomsy in that way, I suppose, where like, no matter what turn you make, it could be the next worst thing. It could also be marginally better, but you're not allowed to feel what's happening. That even accentuates further with the change of the melody, like what the melody is being played on. A synth, xylophone, that like theremin thing that was in there, just these like ice bell sounds, anything. It could just change. And that is now coming from a new source too, so it's pulling away that familiarity as well. It's not letting you get comfortable, which is the scariest thing that you can do in sound design in general. By moving things around and even changing out entire instruments or leads, you can really abuse a person's psychological comfort and make them feel this, which is sheer unadulterated fear distilled into a track that's only about 2 minutes long. And when this starts to loop and you realize that it's looping, that's going to make it worse because it's not a few minutes long. It's now hours long, potentially. I don't know how long you'd be hearing this song, but like it's forever long and you don't know where the end is or if there is one or where it started because there's a new instrument. And was that the one you just heard 5 minutes ago? I can't be sure. If you're not paying attention to it and you're trying to focus on other things in front of you, you're not going to notice. And that's going to play into the psychological pressure going on constantly because your eyes are focused elsewhere. And when your ears clue in on that sort of shit, your brain starts to really feel the effects of those psychological tricks, and it makes everything worse in the best way. This is all me just praising this song for doing such a good job, such an effective job at taking fear, distilling it into that little pool, and making you sit in that water, completely unaware of what your next move may be. And that's just the best and worst thing. Really cool on a sound design aspect, really cool on a music theory side. Terrible for anybody who has to experience it and not be able to get away from it. But I think that's about all I gotta say on this one, so thank you all so very much for watching. If you want me to get to maybe the boss theme of whatever this is, because this is spooky enough on its own, I'd be interested myself in hearing where this goes and how it evolves into a boss theme, because they usually borrow from the battle themes when they do that, but maybe I could be wrong, it could be its own thing. I'm assuming a lot, though. Either way, if you want me to get to that or something else from Genshin, drop in the comments below and I will do my best as always to get to those. But if you don't want to do any of that, maybe just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that. And I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!